I was just watching back my old YouTube videos from like, what is it, 3-4 months ago, and I realized like how much I just love telling these stories that I tell to myself that genuinely help me. And I know that they could probably help you as well, so hence why I'm sharing them. The thing I want to talk about today is, I wrote down the title here. Let the drama in your life do the work for you. Okay? So something that is interesting about the last 2 months of my life is that it's been like the most insane roller coaster of emotions and feelings and shit happening that I could have just never ever expected. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about that. The people that know me, like, they know the story, and sometime I will tell the entire story, but it's a bit too private to throw that out on YouTube right now. But essentially, it's a pretty crazy story, okay? It's a story that came with a lot of drama, that came with a lot of self-doubt, that had to come with a lot of self-reflection because, yeah, there was just a lot of shit in my life going completely wrong. And when you're a young guy who thinks he got it all figured out, that's a big hit on your ego, right? Like, again, I'm thinking I got all this shit nailed down, I got it figured out, and everything just suddenly goes completely south. I'm in my bed thinking to myself, like, how the fuck did I get here? I had to go back home for this issue, completely back home. I used to be in Bali. I'm in Bali now again. I used to travel, do all this fun shit, blah, blah, blah. And from one day to the other, no joke, within 24 hours, my entire life changed. I had to go back home. I was under a lot of stress, more stress than I've ever been. I'm pretty sure I lost some hair in that period due to all the shit that all the stress I had to deal with. And here's the thing. All this drama, right? This whole story, everything that happened, I can actually use that to lay deeper connections, to build more trust on whatever I'm selling, to create this, I like to call it the movie theory, to create this self-belief where you feel unstoppable, you keep going. And, the best way to describe that is, the movie theory kind of already summarizes it a little bit, is the idea of, like, if you look at any superhero movie, it's never like the superhero is just one big lineup. Like, most of the time, it starts at a fucked up position, then he builds up, then he crashes down, builds up, crash down, builds up, crash down. And if you look at, what kind of happening is that the superhero is using all his downs as like a super big motivation to keep going up, right? This is something that I am trying to do all the time, and I did it today again. I was meeting with a client and I'm telling him my story. I'm telling him about how I just had the 2 most horrendous months of my life in a funny way. And you connect with people on that. People are like, yo, this guy's real for even being able to share that with me, because obviously, again, I'm saying it in a funny way, but anybody can see, anybody can hear that that's fucked up. Like, the shit that happened is fucked up. And that's something that I feel like anybody, like, no matter what you do in life, can use, only if you just understood it and would be able to look past your personal attachment to this situation. Because a lot of people perceive, if something negative happens in their life, that must be and will always remain a negative thing. And I just feel like, I don't know, it feels like a cheat code to me to realize that that's just completely not true. Like, you can frame something that's so fucked up in a super positive way and literally turn that trauma, right, into the sole reason why it worked out for you. Does that make sense? Like, think about that one more time. Like, think about your own trauma for a sec, okay, when I say that. All the shit that you've been through, the shit that hurt you on the most deepest, darkest spots that you don't want to tell a soul, if you grab your balls together and you think about it logically and you also strategize a bit on it, you can frame it to be your biggest motivation, source of motivation ever to turn your life around. And this can be the most disgusting, fucked up shit that's 20,000 times worse than what I went through, right? The system is always the same. But again, I feel like due to shame, due to guilt, due to ego, you tend to not really do that naturally, and it needs to take a lot of, active cognitive thinking to make that decision for yourself and actually do that. But it is so powerful, bro. Like, if there would be one thing I could preach on the YouTube channel, it would probably be this message. if that makes sense, because it's been so important for me. I want to tell you a little story, a little bit more fun story about how I did this exact same concept. So when I must have been 19 or 20, I used to work at this snack bar, okay? Used to work there 4 hours a week, bro. No joke, 4 hours a week. It was my second or third part-time job. And I lost that job because I got late for a shift, like I overslept for a shift, even though the shift was at 5 p.m. Okay, so I fell asleep halfway during the day. Super stupid. I come late on that shift, 1.5 hours late, and after that, my boss is like, "Get out, bro, get out." Now, the reason why I was late was actually because the night before I was like working and I was like doing all this shit and I stayed up late, whatever. I have a short night of sleep and then I fall back. Yeah, you get the point, right? Anyways, the point being here is that later down the line, right, when I was building one of my first e-learning companies, I had to write a VSL. For the people that don't know what a VSL is a video sales letter. It's essentially a video on your website that does the selling for you. Okay, so how VSLs work is the best way to convert somebody into becoming a customer is telling a story. So this was like a sort of community, like a paid community / e-learning platform. And I was telling the story about how I got fired from this job. And again, the reason I got fired being because I was the night before working so hard on like building this stuff up, and my boss not understanding me, not giving me a second chance, whatever not. And me being kind of devastated from that. After that, my mom got on my ass. Like all this drama happened because I fucked up that day. And that VSL ended up making me roughly, like, I think it must have been at least over $20,000. Now the reason this is so fake is because I make a lot of different VSLs and I've used this VSL only for a short period of time. Total company made over $470,000. Yeah, $470,000. Thing is that VSL again probably would have made me like $20,000. The irony of the whole thing is that the story of me failing the job and getting fired made me more money than I made in the entire job. Matter of fact, I was only making 150 euros a month from that job. And again, that story actually made me so much more money. It was one of my first VSLs that performed really well. And it just remains crazy to me, okay? After that, I really started fundamentally learning that trick. I feel like that might be the moment where it sort of got imprinted to my subconscious. Because, yeah, I saw in real life how that sort of concept worked. And till this day, I laugh about it. I mean, I can barely hold my laugh right now, just thinking about it, how it's so funny. But it's a great example, I feel like, to prove this concept. So it's currently 4 a.m. here in Bali. I really should go to sleep, but I was feeling energetic, feeling lovely about, watching some YouTube videos, and I'm like, let me just make one little sauce for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want, or if you have any questions about this, or something you want me to talk about, drop it in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Peace.